The 100 Girlfriends That Really, 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 Really Love You. Episode 3 was absolutely fantastic. I was going to do an impressions on episode 2, but honestly, I'm getting behind on first impressions. And yeah, it's quite a chunk of episode 2 was just mainly Rentaro trying to talk about how he's going to figure out how to choose who gets the first kiss. And it was like, well, that was way too long of an explanation, but it was still a really fantastic episode. But no, episode 3 is fantastic because I really do feel like this is a prime example of whenever I get people that go, holy crap, Andrew, you watch way too much. And I get a lot of criticism, the idea that, yes, in a lot of cases, I won't find certain things unique because I've seen it so much because I've watched so many shows. And what I always reply is this idea that I watch a lot of shows despite the fact that it is doing the same thing because I'm always looking to see how it does it differently. I watch a lot of isekais, and a lot of isekais are pretty much like a lot of isekais. But I'm always looking for, what is this one going to do differently? How is this one going to handle this whole situation differently? How is the main character going to take the fact that they've been isekai'd differently? And again, this is a prime example of that, where it's a show that is doing what a lot of shows do, a harem. This is a show that's doing a lot of the archetypes. Tsundere, overly doty. Then you have, yes, the silent character this episode, the overly timid introvert character this episode, the one that can't talk, the cute little girl that can't talk, and so she has to type through something else. It's been done a bajillion times. But how will this one handle it differently? And I really felt like with this episode, a very heavy episode, a very emotional episode, which is kind of funny because this is a comedy, handled it really, really well. I think Shizuka was absolutely fantastic, super cute, but additionally, they handled her outcome differently than what I'm typically used to with so many shows. Not to say they're probably going to step away from that whole joke with the idea of her being timid and talking through her book or whatever, but at least it showed me how this writer wanted to handle that situation in a way that I thought was thoughtful, but at the same time, yes, comedic. Yes, the whole aspect of him pretty much trying to talk to her, and she keeps pointing at the book, and eventually he's like, I want this. She's like, why aren't you talking? It was so cute. But yeah, this episode, opening it up with Rintaro meeting his next soulmate, and that being Shizuka. And yes, really quickly we establish this idea that she cannot communicate. She's not good at speaking out, so she's always pointing to different lines in her book. And yes, eventually he tells her that he wants to find a romance book. She grabs a whole bunch of them. And really cute seeing her kind of scutter around, trying to find all these different books for him. And yes, eventually having a whole ton of them, which I assume was going to happen. This girl was all over the place. I'm like, she's going to stack up like 5 piles of these things. But no, finding out that he can't get his card yet, and she ends up offering over to him her book. Now, what I thought was really cute about this, and that I didn't really kind of realize until later on, is that this is technically Shizuka handing Rintaro the one book that she even has. This is the book that she uses to communicate. As we kind of find out later on, is that this book that she's carrying, this romance book, is something that she's read a ton of times. And so she's memorized it from front to back. I almost thought that she was just grabbing random books and then pointing out lines, and that was just kind of showing how super book smart she was. But no, this specific story was the one that she's read through so many times, and she's practically memorized it. So I thought it was cute, going back and looking at the episode, that this was technically her handing over her voice. She didn't want to let him down so much that she chose to give over her one book that she had, her one way of communicating. That's how it kind of shows that devotion of her. Yes, it could be right here that she's already got the Doki Doki feeling. She's got that soulmate tinge that hit her. She's blushing and everything. She wants to do something for him. But I think it's also kind of showing how much she wants to help people. And so I think that's like an added little bonus to the fact that she was grabbing all these books, but additionally handing over her voice because she wanted to do something for him so much. Super cute. But yeah, like I said, I got a huge kick out of that whole, why aren't you talking? Like, what are you doing? No, we're not playing charades. I just can't talk. But it was really cute, her kind of talking about, well, if I can't help you, I'll get somebody else that can. I'm sorry. She's doing what she can to do that. But yes, eventually we do kind of get a little insight into why she is the way she is, and we get a little brief shot of her, that this is something that she's always been dealing with. And again, this is a trope of a character that cannot talk, and so they're super cute, and they're pointing at things, or typing things, or they're covering their face with something, Love Live, or something like that. But it's giving a lot of emphasis and a lot of weight to what she's been going to. Again, something that's kind of surprising for a show like this to really have. Going to the show, you're expecting it to just be a goofy comedy. It's a shenanigans guy gets a whole bunch of girls, etchy ensues. No, it's kind of going heavily into the idea that her mother even hated her. Her mother constantly saying she's broken. Why can't you talk? Just open your mouth. And even in that, like, just her struggling to say, I'm sorry. It was like, oof. Just oof. It hurt. And yes, of course, bullying at school and everything like that. And I think that's all kind of adding into the weight of later on. But in the meantime, kind of getting that perspective of her, yes, getting him each of the books and him liking that. Him eventually wanting to do some favors for her, which was super cute. But all kind of boiling up to this point that really, really broke my heart. I think the later part broke my heart, but that later point where you have that realization that Rintaro is not single. And I think that's super heartbreaking. Somebody that is essentially introvert, somebody that is having difficulty talking to other people, having a problem really connecting to people. They're very isolated. And they finally get that one person that reaches out their hand to them. And they're excited. Like, oh, yay. Somebody finally wants to talk to me. Somebody finally doesn't see me as broken. Somebody that finally doesn't think that I'm disgusting. I think that was that whole part with them on the bench outside when he got her a drink, because that heartbreaking aspect that she sees that she is broken, and additionally that he should be disgusted by her. Through the words that she's pointing out, it's literally saying, it's odd that you don't dislike me because this is technically how I've always been. You're praising me for being able to know every word in this book, but it comes natural because I have nobody. I'm alone, and I'm broken. But thank you for not treating me like I'm broken. Thank you for not looking at me like I'm a bad person because of that. It becomes natural to me, but you don't despise me. Super, super heartbreaking and cute at the same time. But again, because she finally got that, she has that thing that she's latching onto, like quickly jumping to that idea that she finally spots him and he's with these two girls. And she kind of is insinuating here that she only sees one of them kiss him. But she's kind of got that sense there already that he's taken. That's all it really takes. He's taken. I thought I had somebody. I kind of feel love for them, but they're taken. And that's a natural thing to assume. Yes, technically this is a harem, and that's not, and we're all going, don't worry, girl, they're going to be open for it. This show is literally called 100 Girlfriends. He's going to be for it, but she doesn't know that. And so it immediately turns into this whole like heartbreak for her that she finally reached out and he's taken. And even at that whole aspect that he's trying to do this thing for her and she assumes that he's avoiding her and that he doesn't want to talk to her anymore, which just adds to the heartbreak of it. But yes, we kind of find out that Rintaro apparently is pirating books. There's no ebook version of this book, so he decided to copy the whole thing in digital format and distribute it to her, which I'm surprised that they didn't have like a quick jab thrown in there and this idea of like, yeah, don't do this. I mean, this is technically from a manga, and they're probably, like, really anti-piracy, but it's, like, that whole aspect of, like, yeah, little, like, note at the bottom, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Now, granted, he hand-typed the whole thing, so there's quite a bit of effort put in this, but it's still technically just as bad as scanlations. The argument can be made that she owns it, and yes, I completely agree with that, but unfortunately, laws don't go with logic here. But anyhow, yes, he makes a whole digital version so that she could do text-to-speech, which is super cute. Kind of, again, shows that aspect that Rintaro is a really good guy. And again, that's something I gave praise to the show when I first did my first impressions of the first episode, is this idea that this is one of those rare cases where you have a harem of a ton of girls that, for some reason, like this one guy. But at least with this one, you can kind of understand why. He's a cool dude. He does some really cool stuff. And so it does lend itself to the idea of these girls actually legitimately liking him, despite the aspect of, you know, fate and soulmate and all that kind of stuff. But yes, I thought that, again, this is where you could do this different. This is where I'm like, okay, so what scenario are they going to play? We have that moment where he now technically wants her to talk. She has a moment to say something. Is it going to resolve here? Are we going to have the trope where she finally speaks up? And then you get to hear her cute voice, and you're like, oh, that was so sweet. No, they chose to keep it as is. And again, I really respect that. And yes, I think I've recalled a couple times where they kind of go this route, this idea of the really silent person remaining silent. But I thought it was really well portrayed in this idea that yes, he doesn't say, you know, here you go. You can talk. Don't worry. Let's get through this. You can speak up. Don't worry. You could do it. I'll root for you. No, he legitimately says, I don't know what you're going through, so I have no right to tell you to say something. I have no right to push you to have to say something. He's empathizing with what she's going through, in the idea that he doesn't know what she's going through, but he doesn't want to push her into something that she's not able to do. I don't know what the complexity is of what you're going through. I don't know how hard it is for you to say that. I don't know what will happen to you if you decide to push yourself. So I'm just going to say, I'm right here. Here's this. That's all. I thought it was really respectful. And again, I really love that aspect. And again, it kind of plays in that idea that, like, this guy's a cool dude. I kind of root for him getting these girls because he's not like your typical ditherer that's an idiot that just gets everybody because he's in this spot. He's on the cover. So obviously he gets all the girls. It was really sweet. And yes, her finally, I thought that, yes, there was a chance that she was going to verbalize, you know, thank you or something like that. I didn't really think she was going to tap I love you immediately right there. But again, the episode is technically wrapping up, so we gotta wrap this up really quickly. But it was cute. Her saying I love you. You know, I know that you're taken and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to reply. And then him, interestingly enough, him kind of hitting that idea of realizing the difference between what was being pushed or not. Because one thing that was sort of emphasized in the episode was that aspect of fate. This book that she's having me read or gave to me is a lot to do with fate. They're fated to not be together. The star-crossed lovers. This princess is being given off to a nearby kingdom, and this knight who's dedicated himself to her can't have her. They're just not allowed. The society is not going to allow this to happen. And on the other end, Rentaro is seeing this and going, "Oh crap, that's right. There's this whole soulmate thing. It's being forced upon me. This is just, I have to do this." But it's him. I like the fact that he at least addresses the idea, is this okay? Is it okay for me to be fated to have to be with her and her have to be with me? And again, I was assuming that now after this episode, I'm assuming that we could possibly get into that idea of, this seems wrong. Do these girls really actually love me? Or is some cosmic power just forcing them to have to love me? I mean, it gave the indication early on that there was the reverse was happening, that there was something that messed up, and he wasn't getting anybody because somebody goofed up, and he was trying to find somebody, and so something was working against him, and now it seems like something is working for him because yes, he wrote 100 in that little box, but again, they could actually get into, hey, is this supposed to happen? Is Shizuka, does she really love me, or is it because soulmate powers pushing her to love me? I think that will be a really cool thing that they could eventually get into. But right here, it is addressing the idea that him personally is going, screw that stuff. I love her. It's fine. I actually love her. She's done so much for me, and she's so selfless, and I want this. And so it's really cute in the end. So yeah, the hug. Thankfully, for once, the rare actual hug in an anime, we always have to point it out because it's so rare in anime to actually have a hug when somebody's hurting. But yeah, her crying was, it broke my heart. She broke my heart. But yes, I love the final scene. The entire episode. Hakari and Kanane is like just, they're doing whatever. They're just trying to find something to cook for him and fighting over each other. And then at the very end, him having to I was kind of curious how they're going to handle this idea of, you know, how is he going to present this? And he's doing the route of assembly. Let's bring everybody together. All right. You cool with this? And the reactions. Kanane's like, you gotta be an idiot. What the hell's wrong with you? And then Hakari's like, oh, thank goodness you found somebody else and you didn't dump us. The reaction difference is just dorky. And I'm assuming that's going to be like an ongoing shtick with it. It's like every single time you find somebody new, he has to have like a meeting, and then we're going to get responses from everybody. And which actually had me thinking today, like, what's going to happen when he gets to like 99? He's got 99 girlfriends and he finds the last one. Is it literally like everybody's showing up in this big auditorium and they're all talking to each other going, yeah, it looks like we're called the auditorium again. He must have found another girlfriend. And he gets up there with the microphone. Check. Yeah, there's the 100th. I think we're good now. Here's the last one. Is it okay? And everybody's like, yes. That is all like accepted at that point. Maybe 98, maybe 99 is like, okay, this is weird. What are we doing? But everybody else is like, yeah, we get it now. It's dorky. It's dorky. I just think the entire time Shizuka's standing there just going, what did I get myself into? She's like brought in there and they're arguing and talking, and she's just like, what I walk into? I thought I was okay with this, but I don't know anymore. Super cute. But no, Shizuka was super, super cute. I'm still leaning towards Karane as best girl, but I can't help but think Shizuka is super, super freaking cute, and she must be protected. It's just, she's so freaking adorable. But yeah, I'll be interested to see the other ones. Like I've said before, Nano, I don't really like her design. I'm assuming she's gonna be kudere, and I'm not usually a fan of kuderes. Kusuri, it looks like she's gonna be a bundle of fun, so I'm hoping that she eventually pops in. But yeah, good episode. Really enjoyed it. But that's my thoughts on episode 3 of Girlfriend. Girlfriend. That's another show this season that I gotta check out. No, 100 girlfriends who really like you, love you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get my content and news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. I might be doing weekly impressions of this depending on how many people care about my videos on it. But additionally, if you like this content, you want to support more, I have Patreon link, tips, link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does, and y'all take care.